Hello ladies. I know that Pigeon Pose is one of the most requested poses that I've ever done with any of the prenatal classes that I've ever hosted. So I wanted to do just a little short video just with Pigeon Pose, more than anything just to get all of the details in so that we could spend enough time on the pose to really get the benefits. So I have a bolster here. I don't expect you to go out and buy a bolster, but I wanted to show you that we want it to be a really firm pillow. If you have a cushion that is really firm that you could use, that would work. You can stack as many things as you'd like. Blocks are nice as well. I'm just going to use this bolster, and I found this one for about 20, maybe it was $30. And it was a great investment. I use it for so many things. But I'm not asking you to go out and purchase one, but this is just us working on our pigeon pose here today. So find your blanket. So I always use a beach towel, and I always have a block handy. And we'll start in a table position. So find here, when you're ready, excuse me, I don't think they can see me when you do that. So from here, we're going to find our table pose. So when you find your table, just to begin, let's find a little child's pose. So we'll find knees go wide, and you can use your bolster for this one if you'd like, or your pillow, and just rest down on one cheek for just a moment. So this is just going to kind of help us to get things kind of ready. So I don't usually do this pose as a standalone pose, but I know that it's so requested, and maybe the practice that you did on one of my other videos didn't have it, so I thought this would be a good way to just add this pose just by itself. So settle in your child's pose, and you can just find forehead resting down. And just taking a minute with your head resting down, just to really notice maybe tightness in hips, notice your breath, and already starting to set the tone for this little pose that we'll work on, and that is deep relaxation. Not always easy to get to, but we're going to work on it today. So find yourself being heavy. Find yourself relaxed. Then we'll start to come up to our table, and we'll start with the left knee. So from your table, we'll start to shift the left knee forward, shift the ankle over towards the right side, curl the back toe under to shift the back knee back. Then tuck this blanket or towel underneath of your hip. And you can fold it as many times as you want. I've got mine folded quite a bit here. And then take a second, let it be nice and folded here. And then you have your bolster here. So you can find yourself shifting over towards the right side. So the bolster, you can kind of bring it in underneath of the chest, or you can support the whole body. You can even set a block on top if that's helpful. It's too much for me. I'm gonna just slowly find, so maybe shifting it so that you have enough space here for baby, and then completely settle in. Maybe you'd like to bring it up a little further so it's just your forehead relaxing down. And then just letting go here. So letting yourself be heavy, letting yourself just let go here in your pose. Maybe you'd like to find a little bit of movement every now and again just to kind of work out those tight places, and that's okay here. So check in to make sure that the back knee is facing down and that the top of the foot is flat to your mat or to the floor. And I'm kind of up here, but I'd like you to be a little bit lower, like forehead down. So if that means you need more stuff underneath of you here, there's always the option here with your block. So your block underneath of your forehead. And just checking in with your hips here. And we'll slowly start to make our way up. So nice and slow, take your time. We'll find from here, curl the back toe under to shift the back knee forward, shift the blanket out from underneath, and we'll make our way back to child's pose. I'll do puppy just in case you aren't familiar with puppy pose. So from puppy, we think of our knees and our hips right in the same plane here, and then we lower ourselves down to where our forehead rests to our mat. Again, any movements from side to side that feels good, just kind of working out any kinks here. And slowly start to come up nice and slow. Let's make sure we have all of our things closer towards the opposite side so we're not reaching for them in a moment. And then we'll take our blanket and shift it over towards the right. And we'll just check in here, back to our table. Right knee comes underneath of our, or comes up behind our right hand. That ankle shifts over towards the left side. We curl the back toe under to shift the back knee back. Tuck your blanket underneath of your hip. And then we'll find our pose. So we started first. So remember, you have all of this space. You can kind of think of this space as your nest for your baby. Then we kind of fold down. So maybe you want to start just by with forearms, and that's perfect here. And then maybe you'd like to bring your bolster in, and you can settle in, resting down. So some of us, I kind of need a little bit more height for this, and that's okay. That's why the block is kind of nice too. And either option is perfect. And wherever you are, just really allowing yourself to really let go here. And letting yourself be heavy, especially into the hips. Again, little shifting from time to time if that feels good for you. Sometimes just being in a pose for a long period of time is hard. And if you need to come out of your pose and come back in, that's always okay. That's what I want you to do. I want you to listen to what your body's needs are. Or maybe this side is just too much for you and you're already done and you need to come out. That's okay. You can go right to your child's pose or your puppy. And we're patient because our hips, they're undergoing a lot of change, especially into those last few weeks of our pregnancy, kind of the last month where they're getting ready for birth. So we're extra sensitive to their needs. And we'll slowly start to inch our way up. So take your time, use hands for support, shift your block forward, out of the way. We'll curl the back toe under to shift the back knee forward, take that blanket out of the way, start to shift the back knee back, and we'll find a child's pose or a puppy. And if you're in child's pose with me, maybe you'd like to take the knees a little wider this time. So find your forehead resting all the way down. And if your hips aren't quite making it all the way down to your heels, that's okay, just as long as your forehead is resting down and your back feels straight. So if you feel like you're kind of dipping your belly down, just kind of draw the navel in, and that will kind of hug in towards baby, and that'll keep your back straight. It'll protect your low back. We'll slowly make our way up, so take your time, no rush. We slowly make our way all the way up to our seat. And just a little counter pose after our pigeon pose. It's a good idea just to kind of find something. That child's pose does wonders, but let's take our knees a little bit from side to side. So just kind of right to left movements for a moment. If you find yourself kind of sliding a little bit, just adjust your hands so you feel good and supported. And then we'll just come to a regular seat. So I encourage you to find pigeon pose whenever you need it, especially in the later part of your day. So sometimes, especially when we get ready to go to bed at night, I know sleeping can be a major challenge, especially with the hips, because they kind of wake you up when you have to sleep on your side all the time. So sometimes doing a pigeon pose before bed is a good idea to kind of help you with sleep. But the need for doing some hamstring stretches might be helpful too. So just know that you can add this to any practice that you're already doing. Maybe just the 6 movements of the spine videos that I do. Those 6 movements of the spine and pigeon pose are a good combination. And I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope it helps you to understand pigeon pose a little bit. It was not my favorite pose for such a long time, and I realized that my biggest struggle with pigeon pose was I think I wanted it too hard, and I didn't realize that when I let go, that's when I made my best progress. So just keep working at it, and thanks again for joining me, and I hope this little video helps you out today, and I hope it helps you to get better night's sleep. So thank you very much. Thank you.